All right, this is my third vlog entry, and my first one was about Daniel Postman's "Amusing Ourselves to Death." The second one was about I think I mostly talked about the fantasy novel Niftaline, and not really sure what I should talk about tonight. I'm really tired. Get a little personal with this one. So I'm a professor at a small liberal arts school. I'm not sure how much I should dox myself. Like, the people who watch this probably know all the details, but yeah, I teach at a small liberal arts school. I teach in the English department, where it's Thursday of week 13, and I'm basically, the burnout is setting in. And I wonder, what percentage of my blood right now is cortisol and adrenaline from, it's just strange because I am a teacher, and public speaking is a big part of this career, but as like most readers and nerds, I'm more introverted. So it's just that there's a mismatch between my personality and my vocation, which is weird because I feel like that's a common, it's not like it's unique among professors of literature specifically, because there are these readers, deep readers, but then deep readers are often not the most gregarious, outspoken people. So by week 13 of a 15-week semester, I'm usually pretty my brain feels like sludge. It's just pickled by cortisol. But I've been engaging in this sounds like a buzzword, but self-care. I've been reading like fantasy when I have some extra time. I've been journaling. Journal two different ways. I have a drive, like a Google Doc, where I can type my journal entries, and I usually get more like intellectual and free-flowing there, because like the ergonomics of the keyboard, it's a very different form of cognition when you're using a keyboard than when you're for example, my other type of journaling is I actually use a pencil and like a paper, and I don't use cursive. I basically I use like small print, and that because I'm focused on making sure that my writing is legible. It's like slows down my inscription, and so like my thoughts come out differently when I write by hand. So usually if I'm writing by hand in my journals, it's more logistical and kind of gathering my wits, preparing for the day. Yeah. And every now and again, I'll use my phone and I'll write like a journal entry in my phone. But two thumbs and a small screen, you just can't express yourself, capaciously. So I try to. My favorite way of journaling, if I'm honest, is probably on the computer. Just typing. One of the problems with typing, but for example, with these vlogs, I'm just going to let my mind wander. I hope if you guys are watching it, so if it's interesting, then, it's interesting. If it's not, then you can just turn it off. But what was I talking about? Keyboards versus writing by hand versus on your phone. One of the I wanted to say something about that. Now I forget. This is I guess I do prefer journaling on a computer because it. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Just wasted 10% of the vlog trying to gather my thoughts. This is what I wanted to say. The problem with a word processor, to me, is that you don't feel like you're producing anything. You're basically like making circles in like the water, like you're weaving things out of light that are dissipated the moment the light leaves the room. Like you're it's like you're like shapes in the water, or ice sculptures that melt quickly. When you type like 500 words on a word processor, it's so easy to type and backspace, and it feels like there's really no production there. Like and I revise a lot, and so and I mess with things. So this is one of the psychodramas I have when it comes to writing, is I don't feel a sense of momentum and propulsion forward when I'm writing on a word processor. I do feel that when I'm writing by hand, You know, like if I write like 10 pages, I'm like, oh, I've written a lot. Or if I actually have a mechanical typewriter, which I very rarely use. I haven't used that in years. You type like 10 pages, the clack, clack, clack of the keys actually makes you, you know, the sound of production. I know I'm overthinking this, but I do think one of the pitfalls, the shortcomings of word processing is that like you don't get that sense that you're like making something, you're producing, right? It the way I think about producing language on a word processor is almost like you know, if you're in like pottery class and you turn the pug mill on, and the pug mill, you know what the pug mill is, that's where it mixes the clay and it comes out. You like just turn it on, it comes out in this big tube, and then of course you like sculpt that clay into sculptures and, you know, bowls and things, but it initially comes out unformed. And I feel like when you're writing on a word processor, it kind of has that formlessness to it. I know that's probably unique to me. Some people, you know, I'm jealous of them. They probably can just produce this beautiful prose in the word processor. None of these psychodramas are holding them back. But for me, you know, when I get something down in the word processor, 500 words, 1,000 words, it's like, oh, that's just the beginning, and then I have to spend all this time, you know, fiddling with it. I feel like my writing by hand is a little bit more polished because I have to slow down. And then, man, my writing on, you know, when I'm like talking on Discord on my phone, or, you know, texting friends, it's like I have like 3 or 4 word sentences. And I think it's just because like the physicality of like the 2 thumbs and I have all the, I have predictive text turned off on my phone. And I have, you know, because I don't like the predictive text, it just never has worked for me. And so I make a lot of typos. So I'm always like, you know, backspacing as I'm typing. So yeah, there's a little detour down the philosophy of inscription. What else is going on? So burned out, week 13, trying to take care of myself with journaling. What else? I'm gonna go to the self-care route more. You know, I used to meditate a lot. You know, you can't see, but I have a Buddha statue right here. You know, but I back in like 2008, I downloaded a meditation app. I forget which app it was, and I started meditating. And my wife, she was going through yoga teacher training, and she had to have so many hours of meditation to get her level or whatever of yoga teacher training. I don't know, you know, if you know about yoga teacher training, it actually has like requirements, and one of the requirements was so many hours. So I was introduced around 2008 to this practice of meditation, and I was reading, this is probably beyond the scope of like I'm only wanting to talk for maybe like 2 more minutes, but you know, around 2008, you know, wife's meditating, this app, I downloaded this app. I think it was Calm, but it might have been like before the Calm app. I forget. I was reading Sam Harris at the time, who was an advocate for meditation. Who else? I was really into Thich Nhat Hanh. He has a book called Peace is Every Step. It's a pretty popular book, but it's weird. It's not even about sitting meditation. It's about doing things meditatively. But long story short, you know, meditation has been something I've been doing for self-care for a long time. But maybe in the last you know, year or so, I've kind of fallen out of the habit. You know, it's when I sit down to meditate, I'll do like 5 minutes before I'm like, okay, I need to do something else. Like my mind just wants to jerk all over the place, and you know, I get distracted. I'm not sure why that's the case. I guess I thought maybe it was because I was playing some video games. There was a period. I think I stopped playing probably around like May, but for like 2 years I played a lot of Diablo 4, which is just a, you know, action RPG, basically like you know, there's the intellectual side of the game is before you actually start before the action, you're building your character, but then the game itself is just kill. This video is going to get completely downloaded now that I've said that. Not downloaded. The algorithm's going to think I'm some like a crazy person because I just, you know. But Diablo is just you just destroy unalive a whole bunch of mobs and gather the treasure. And it came out a couple years ago, and I followed, and I maxed out my character, and I followed this new element of modern video games is they have seasons, right? So I signed up for the seasons, and every season I would max out a character, and I think that had a negative impact on my cognition. I really do. I think maybe I haven't played Diablo since like June, and I was like, I'm taking this season off, and I've taken the last 2 seasons of Diablo off, and I've been getting a lot more reading done, and I've been spending more time at the gym, and spending more time on lesson plans and stuff like that. But I still like the effect of that. It's basically a dopaminergic hack, but that's why Diablo is fun. It's a dopaminergic hack. It's not quite a narcotic or something, you know what I mean? But it's close, and you get the sense that you're making progress, but really you're just, think about this. Every time the season ends, you're brought right back to the. Well, I could go down the rabbit hole talking about the ephemeral pleasures of video game playing, and Diablo, because it wasn't just Diablo 4, but I played Diablo 3 too. But I'll stop for now. So this one, I feel like week 13, my mind's all over the place. I just wanted to do one of these because I said I was going to do one daily, and to begin, now it's totally not daily. I'm not sure when I did the last one, but I feel good about doing 3. So all right, have a good night.